There is a need in Toledo that is often overlooked. Toledo is not just a collection of mall shops and upper-class, well-to-do people who go to the university. There are, on the north side alone, hundreds of houses, and I'm sure if you count all of Toledo, thousands of abandoned houses and abandoned factories, and you don't have to look very far to find an abandoned space. And in each one of these abandoned spaces, they're not just buildings. There used to be people that worked in these factories, and now they've been filled with graffiti and graffiti artists and scrappers who will steal any metal they can to get by. So there's a very obvious need for social welfare in our city. But was it always this way? Was there always this many abandoned structures in the glass city? And was there a point when you actually would do better in Toledo, like the slogan says? I had the pleasure of meeting with Dan Rogers, the CEO of Cherry Street Mission, to ask him what his personal take on religious involvement in social welfare in our city is.
Yeah, so, in the New Testament where, the church, modern-day church, constantly quotes, "The poor you will have with you always," we take that not at all in biblical context, because it is interpreted now in 20th, 21st century America as a statement, as a conclusion. The poor you will always have with you. So the problem with interpreting that way is twofold. Number one, it's not biblical, because Jesus was mocking the people of his day. He wasn't saying it as this is the state of things. He was saying this is the state of things because you accept poverty. And so because you accept poverty, the poor will be with you always. Because the biblical text would suggest to us, and again, you would have to dust off the Old Testament, that the poor shouldn't be with us always. That there was always a solution to need. The solution to need is, as you indicated here today, is people. People problems require people solutions. That is the quintessential message of the gospel of Jesus Christ, that God works through humans.
I also asked him if he ever thought there was going to be a solution for poverty in our city.
About what your work is really all about. And then fundamentally to your earlier question, how did this whole thing get started in terms of Cherry Street Mission Ministries and why the social service need? Your question delineates on presence and absence. So social service, Cherry Street, social service services exist because the church does not. It's that simple. To say, will there be a time in our city when there will no longer be need, is also ridiculous, because the church is there to meet need. So it's like we would be saying, if we answer that question, hey, everybody, stop needing and don't ever need ever again. Oh, come on, this is ridiculous. The wrong question is asked, can we eliminate need? The question is, can we be present in areas where we're absent? That's the question. So it's not the question of can we end need. The question is, can we end unmet need? That's the question. Because right now need doesn't need to be eradicated. The gap that exists between those who can meet the need and those who have the need is too wide, and that distance, like geography, needs to be closed.
Now, his answer kind of shocked me. We know there's a need, but the religious organizations aren't doing enough to meet it. And is he asking me to do something about this need on a personal level? Pastor Sammy Adaby describes what it might look like if each person took on more than just a religious obligation, but a personal initiative to take care of the social welfare needs in our city.
And I think that it sounds so cliche, but I believe that love is the most powerful weapon in the world. And I think that when people love people, not an agenda, trying to sell anything, it's not an obligation. When you really believe that people's story matter and that people matter, I think that what's so effective about that is it's irresistible. I think regardless of your political differences or racial differences or economic differences, I think that when people know that you genuinely care about them, it's irresistible. And I think what's amazing about, you know, helping people out of a heart of love is it not only changes that person, but it changes you. And I don't think there's anybody that's ever really done really good work to help people that hasn't walked away feeling like, man, I got more out of that almost than the person I was helping. I think that's the power of love. You know, I've been in a couple situations where people are waiting like, okay, where's the hook? Or, you know, where are the strings? Like, where are you getting that? It's like, no, there's no hook, there's no strings. It's just you. I love you, I care for you. I think that's so rare. I think it's so foreign in our culture. And I think that's why it's so effective and it's so refreshing.
What we need to realize is that the need is never going to go away. We have to choose whether or not we're going to be a bystander and let somebody else figure it out, or if we're going to respond to that need because, well, we care about other people. Because we realize that there's a humanity in taking care of others who can't take care of themselves. Are we going to step in and be a part of it, or are we just going to let our city fall apart?